Welcome to Kung Fu Habit number 2. This is part 4. And this is specifically for everyone now, not just Mr. Fuck You Trump supporters. Alright? Self-hatred. Let's talk about that for a minute amongst the black community. Let's talk about that shit. Look at me. Amongst the black community, which a part of you I am in. So let me break it down for you one more time. My ethnicity, really quickly. I am multicultural. I am Cherokee Indian. I am black and I am white. Most of my life I've been the victim of racism from black people. Self-hatred probably started right there. Probably started with the girl L.T. in grade school. You're not really black, although she and I are the same color. You're not really black. My hair was better than hers, but I'm not really black. And you'll never be good enough for black girls. So it started with her. Okay, apparently we're gonna have... Uh-oh. I don't know what the hell I just did, but it didn't show it. It was an alert of some sort. Sorry for y'all for messing up the video, but it's not showing me anything. Okay, public safety alert. I have to hit this. Something about vaccination. Virginia vaccination has been your appointment online. Vaccination website, such and such. Typing. Well, I've already had both of my shots, so I don't need this. I don't know why it came across here as if it was an emergency. It's not saying anything about like risk, pre-register, 65, vaccination, Virginia. I thought it was an Amber Alert. I'm sorry. I'm not going to remake this video, but I really thought it was an Amber Alert. Okay. So, my self-hatred started in grade school. I had a lot of adventures in grade school. And a lot of racism from blacks and whites. Because before I found out I was Native American, I just thought I was black. Before I found out I was mixed, I just thought I was black. No one could tell me that I wasn't black. I was blessed. I was a black man with curly hair, and nothing could stop me. I was all the way up. You know, black and I'm black and I'm black and I'm black, and I was proud to be black. Proud to be black. Then one day my mom came to school. Begin the clusterfuck now. So, this is what happened with LT and SW. SW and LT are both this color. SW and I have the same last name. We're not related that I know of, and I still haven't found out if we were related or not. And she also wouldn't be my girlfriend because I wasn't all the way black. And she constantly pointed that out. Her and LT always pointed that out. James, you're not really black. You know that, right? You're not really black. We've seen your mother. Your mother's white. Mom's not white. She's just extremely light. But for them, my mom was white. That's all that mattered, was my mom was white. We're not going to date any half-breeds. You're never going to be good enough for us. Now, I had a second grade girlfriend who was also black, and she didn't have a problem, and her skin was light, and her name was Tutu, and that's all you're going to get. I'm not going to embarrass her and give her a real name out now. It's like been like 40-some damn years ago. So, you know, I think you're 7 in the second grade. I'm not sure. Anyway, so the problem was black girls started my journey into self-hate. They really did. They started my journey into self-hate. White girls didn't help much better. My very first crush was an Eskimo girl who was half Eskimo and half white. I often wonder if she even existed, since I couldn't find her in any of the Berlin Moran school photos. But her name was Jillian. I remember because she got me into martial arts by kicking me in the face in the projects. Sometimes I still think that it was all an hallucination or a figment of my imagination. But then I started learning martial arts from the age of 7 to 10 by some black guy who I can't remember his face or name. So wherever you are, I thank you because you taught me how to fight. You made me a better fighter than my uncles thought that I would ever become. for the childhood fighting ring that I was a part of, where I didn't have a fucking choice in that. Fight them or fight him. That's pretty much the odds there. So self-hatred was always a thing, because I was made to hate myself by black people. Had one white incident in grade school. It was the first white incident. And this girl, her name was like Christina or something. She called me a nigger. It was the first time I ever been called a nigger. It was also the last time in that school that I was ever called a nigger by anybody white, because I punched her in the mouth. I busted her lip. I knew better. I wasn't supposed to hit girls. Kung Fu knew better. But my reflexes just was that sharp. I don't know what happened. All I know is she called me a nigger and my hand was covered in blood, because I punched her in the face. I don't know how, I don't know why, it just happened. It was like lickety-split timing. But that was like in the 3rd grade. That was a year after being told by black girls, I'm not good enough, I'll never be good enough, we don't date guys that are half-breeds. Then all my white friends stopped talking to me after punching the white girl in the mouth for calling me a nigger. I never told them what she said. It was forced out of me by our Italian white principal named Mr. Garrett, who I think. It's right then and there that I started realizing something. I didn't really have a place in black or white culture because I am mixed. So self-hatred started with blacks, continued on with whites. Didn't know I was part of Native American, because when you are a child, you do not see your skin tone of your parents as a factor. You just see your parents. It's just like if your dad's Tom Cruise. You know, you don't see him as Tom Cruise. You see him as your dad. All right? Yeah, he's famous. He has a great job. He makes millions. He goes out and makes movies that I'm not allowed to see until I'm 18. But yeah, he's still your dad. You know, it's like that. For me, it was like that. And no, Tom Cruise is not my dad. But anyway, the point being made is that when I saw my mom, I did not see her as a white lady. I saw her as my mom. You know, when I seen my grandmother on my dad's side, I did not see her as a Cherokee Indian. I seen her as my grandmother. And I seen her mother on my dad's side. I didn't see her as a Cherokee Indian. I seen my grandmother. So, but what other people see was my mom looks white. I have a friend named Scott. Hi, Scott. Who looked at my mom one time and said, damn, James, your mom's whiter than my mom. I was like, yeah, my mom's not white, dude. My mom's dad's dad was white. We do have white in us. 1,000% confirmed, you know. My damn grandfather, before he passed, like a white man with a tan. Which is why 2 of my siblings and one of my nephews, or a lot of my nephews, are exceptionally light. And I was like, man, if I had y'all color, man, y'all would have no idea at how successful I would be if I had y'all color with my facial structure. Oh, God, man. I would be fucking devastated. Now, self-hate. A lot of black people have a lot of self-hate. There's the paper bag test to see how black are you. I'm surprised it hasn't become a TikTok thing yet, you know, because, you know, what Asian are you, or how tall are you, or what do you do for a living? All these things have become TikTok trends. Excuse me. TikTok trends. Because, you know, how Asian are you? You got, like, Chinese person, Chinese. You got, like, Vietnamese and Laos and all this. I'm not saying this to insult them. They are truly trends. You know, you can go out there and watch TikTok and you'll see that they have them on there. They got their little flags and shit, and they got people dancing, and then they'll cruise over to this side because they're Chinese, or they'll cruise over to this side because they're Japanese, or they'll cruise over to this side because they're Korean, etc. You get the fucking gist. We black people don't have that. Alright? But what we have for each other is a lot of fucking hatred, because, you know, some of our ancestors who were not raped by white people have dark skin. Some of my ancestors are white. Was my ancestors products of rape? I don't know. And neither do most of them, because that was not something that was discussed in the family. Just like we never used the word nigger in our house. And yes, I just used that. We never used that word. Before the 90s, that word never came out of anybody in our house's mouth. We listened to the music, but we never used that word. We never fucking used that word. We listened to Public Enemy, we listened to NWA, we listened to Ghetto Boys, but we never used that fucking word. Not in this house. And that day in the 3rd grade, when I hit that girl in the mouth, I had to explain that to the teacher, that we did not use that word. And Once he coaxed it out of me, he's like, okay. So he sent me back to class. But at the end of the day, I had to be in the office in a separate room from the girl who was in a separate room as our parents had a discussion. When they seen my mom, they thought that I was a white boy. And they wanted to know why a white boy would punch a white girl in the mouth for calling him a nigger. Yes, I used it again. And I had to because, it wouldn't have been as effective. And then my mom said, first and foremost, I'm not white. I'm just exceptionally light because my ancestors had white in them. I'm actually a black woman who just looks white. And there are many of black women passing as white women. They have been doing it for centuries because it has saved their fucking life. Alright? It has. Now, my self-hatred journey started in Burning Moran. Because prior to Burning Moran, I thought I was a cowboy. I thought I was a white boy. My first comic that I read at 3 years old was Jonah Hex. Then I learned a little bit about the truth about cowboys and Indians. The Indians technically weren't the bad guys that Hollywood depicted them to be. Okay? Understand that. Hollywood fucked up the Wild West. Indians weren't really the bad guys when you look at history and how Native Americans lost every fucking thing that they had. They might have been the bad guys to each other before the Europeans showed up. But prior to that, they had fought over tribal lands and women and kids and buffaloes and shit like that. But when the Europeans came, they didn't fight each other anymore. They had bigger fish to fry. And here we are. Now, here's where my self-hatred took a turn. Met a few white people. Half-breed, half-breed, half-breed. Oh yeah, then I worked at Kegler's and this one white guy wouldn't stop calling me Chief. And I wasn't wearing feathers or a headdress. Just regular ass clothes with a name tag. But to him, my name was Chief. Now, Mr. Fuck You Trump supporters, you understand where I am? Probably not. But for all of you who don't understand self-hate, let me continue. Now, we're moving on. I meet some sexy Native American girls. I met a Native American girl in Canada. I bought her a bear. I never got to give it to her because she disappeared before I could. And I never got to see her again. She was a skater girl, and she was from Oregon. So wherever you are, darling, I still have your bear. Sadly, you're never going to get it because I'm totally in love with someone else, so I'm probably just going to re-gift it. Anyway, moving on. It's a nice white bear. Anyway, so, self-hatred. A lot of black people have it and don't know that they have it. And they project it. I got to stand up because I've been sitting too long and my ass is only allowed to sit for like an hour or two before my hip starts to kick in. And yes, you saw me pick out that wedgie that I'm still picking out right now. Self-hatred, man, it goes a long way. And when you start hating yourself, you also start hating people who look like you. Alright? So, to Mr. Fuck You Trump supporters, I have nothing against anybody until they have something against me. I do my best to not offend people on this channel. And when I do, I often apologize. I often apologize before I make a video because I let you know that the content that's going to be in this video is going to suck. Alright? The brown skin color wheel. I have a video here on YouTube about the skin color wheel. Alright? How close are you to white? This is a thing. This is a thing. So if you're Asian, you probably don't have this thing. But if you're black, you definitely have this thing. Because there are a lot of skin tones that black people either will appreciate or not appreciate. And they will use that shit against you or for you. Because you have no idea how many times I've been around a bunch of full-blooded black people who have black people features, black hair, black noses, black skin tone. And they'll be like, yeah, we don't want the half-breed on our time. No, he can't be on our side because he's got some white in him and something else. Or he's not even black, he's actually a fucking Mexican. We don't have that. Yeah, these are the things that I've gone through. So you want to talk about self-hate? No one hated themselves more than me until I learned how to accept who I am and what I am. Yeah, I am multicultural. I am Cherokee. I am black. I am white. I am all of that. So trust me when I tell you, I have been the victim of racism from all three sides. And granted, Native Americans are biologically Asian, but they are the only Asians that have said bad things to me. And there's only one tribe. It wasn't even from a tribe that I belong to, you know. But I don't hold all Native Americans responsible for that. I don't hold all black people responsible for that. Thanks for watching.